Respected Shri Amitabh Bachchan ji, dignitaries on the dais, my dear patients who have come from Hyderabad, members of the media, and distinguished guests. We begin with a short film that has been made by Usha Lakshmi Breast Cancer Foundation a few years ago. As you will see from the film, through the medium of classical dance, a breast cancer survivor, a very accomplished survivor, demonstrates the importance of early detection of breast cancer. May we have the film, please? Please come on to stage to receive this bouquet, sir. Nothing gives me more pleasure than to introduce my patients. Two of them have come. One who is a very young.
Let them come in front then. Difficult for me to change. Shri Amitabh ji, namaskar. All the dignitaries on the dais and all you respected guests. It's a great honor to be here and to be able to felicitate Dr. Raghu for this immense service that he has done for breast cancer. I met him about 10 years ago, 11 years ago in London. And I was surprised to find, as usual, I sing a little, so everybody insisted that I sing, so I sang. And he approached me after I had finished singing with tears in his eyes, saying, I'm coming back to India. And I'm coming back because I feel that there's more work to be done in India than here. And I knew that he held a very senior position in the Royal Marsden Hospital, which is the premier institute for cancer in London, in England. And I thought to myself, he won't actually do it because he was doing very well, and economically also it's not going to be very comfortable for him to come back to India to start something which people are not even aware of and people don't want to be aware of because they hide things. But to my surprise, he actually did. He transferred himself from London to India, and I said, wow, this is something great. Because very few people these days especially would give up a lucrative career for an ideal, and that's what he did. And I'm a nationalist, very much so. I love India, and I think India is the greatest country and is going to become greater in the future. And so I really admire this nationalist feeling that he had, that I have to come back to India to do things in India rather than my expertise should be utilized more in India than in England. In England, there are lots of others who would do it. But in India, there's nobody else. So, Dr. Raghu, more strength to your arms and more brilliance to your brains. And just carry on this work. And I salute you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Chopra. The foundation is really privileged that Mr. Bachchan has chosen to be the chief guest and honor us with his presence for the launch of this mobile app. Mr. Bachchan, as we all know, is a national icon and a role model to all of us. And his endorsement to this cause really means quite a lot to us. So without further ado, I would request Mr. Bachchan to address the gathering, after which, okay, we will have the release of the mobile app first, after which we would request Mr. Bachchan to address the gathering.
So it's just to click this and ensure it.
Dr. Raghuram, Mr. Padmanai, Navya, Mr. Ranjan, Pam Auntie. Mrs. Pamela Chopra is family to us, so she's the one that actually drew my attention to this very worthy cause and to this wonderful gentleman who's been working so hard towards this cause. I'm delighted to be invited here today, Dr. Raghuram, and delighted because in the past I have been associated with many medical causes and taking up campaigns that hopefully have worked. We worked for the United Nations for polio, and almost laboring for 8 years, we were able to have a condition where India is today polio-free. I've been working on tuberculosis, hepatitis B. Hepatitis B is a dreaded disease, also working on diabetes. But one of the things that came through with all these campaigns was the fact that no one was able to draw attention to the people that you need to understand what the disease is, to be able to know what it is, to be informed about it. And when these aspects of the disease were brought forward, then the working of the campaign became a lot easier. Having knowledge of the disease is the doctor's job. But the people that suffer sometimes feel that they don't need to consult, or when they need to consult, it has become too late. And therefore, timely intervention and informing the medical profession of your disease, as I have noticed, has been very beneficial. I say this out of experience because when we did polio, we had a lot of trouble convincing the people about taking this dosage because there were a lot of apprehensions, there was a lot of resentment to the fact that these doses were not actually helping the patients or was going to prevent the child from getting polio. But we worked consistently and were able to convince them. And eventually, as I said, today India is polio-free. For tuberculosis, I joined the campaign because I'm a TB survivor. In the year 2000, suddenly I was detected with tuberculosis. And because I was able to timely inform my doctors about it, or the doctors actually found out about it, and I was able to take a treatment, I was able to come out of my tuberculosis. And one of the things that I keep saying almost with due affection and with due regard and great humility is that if it can happen to me, it can happen to anyone. It's much like what the lady just expressed. If it can happen to her, it can happen to anyone. Tuberculosis is normally associated with people who live in lesser means, in bad environments. So if it could happen to someone who, by the grace of God, has had better facilities and better environments to live in and work in, can happen to me, it could happen to anybody. But timely intervention, informing people that going for detection, putting yourself up for analysis, or just going to a doctor and doing proper investigation was able to save millions of people. The same thing happened with hepatitis B. In the year 1982, during the shooting of one of my films, Coolie, I had a bad accident, and during the course of my hospitalization, I needed a lot of blood, almost 200 packets and bottles of blood was needed. There were almost 60 bottles of blood. There were 200 people that actually came forward to donate blood to me. And one of the donors was carrying the dreaded hepatitis B virus. The Australian antigen virus was something that had just been discovered, and the doctors were unable to identify it. It went into my system, and I didn't know about it until the year 2005, which through a general testing that I was going through was suddenly discovered. And it was discovered that it had destroyed 75% of my liver. What I'm trying to say is that I today survive on 25% of my liver. You can survive liver diseases, I believe, with even 12%. But the fact is that it was detected, timely intervention was taken, and even though I have lost 75% of my liver, I'm able to survive and stand in front of you today because proper care was taken at that point of time, and it was detected in time. Much the same is what I've been hearing from all the speakers that have talked about breast cancer. If it is detected in time and knowledge about it is known, you have two very good examples this evening who have told you that they were able to survive and are happy that somebody like Dr. Raghuram was able to take care of them and bring forward all the medical help that was required. I'm very happy that an application today has been devised where people who are not knowledgeable enough about breast cancer can know about it. I was a little apprehensive about it until Mr. Padmanabhaya informed me that what I was apprehensive about was that application is something that is more prominent in urban areas, in cities and metros and more so-called educated people. What happens to people in the villages, because the application needs to be understood there. But he now informed me in his speech that the incidence of breast cancer in rural areas is less than what it is in urban areas, and therefore that is very heartening to know. But I presume that there will be some kind of device where the application is brought out to the rural areas as well, and they are educated enough to know how to use them. I saw the app this afternoon. Dr. Raghuram and I met earlier on, and I was delighted to know the various aspects of the application. It gives you information about what breast cancer is, of how it is treated. Sometimes in society it can become a sensitive issue. It can become a topic that is sometimes embarrassing for women, but I feel that, one should not feel embarrassed or sensitive about a disease. We're all human beings. We are all susceptible to all kinds of illnesses. And the app actually leads you through various aspects of what breast cancer is, how it can be treated. Post-operative care or post-care is a very important element in most diseases. And as we saw in the application, some of the aspects of how to treat breast cancer after you have been treated are very important. I'm delighted today that I have been associated with this campaign. And Dr. Raghuram, may I just offer my services, my voluntary services to this wonderful campaign. If in the future you would require to use my face and my voice towards this campaign, I shall be more than willing to help you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
To conclude this evening, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Usha Lakshmi Breast Cancer Foundation, I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Shri Amitabh Bachchan ji for kindly releasing the world's first app on breast healthcare in 12 languages. I also Bachchan. I was wondering if I could just take a picture with you.